of the Prairies.
No.
We'll bleep that.
No.
Maybe. Chance, tell us a little bit about yourself.
What is there to tell about Chance Heck? I mean, I'm from the aforementioned Lloydminster. I came here to Edmonton 9 years ago. Almost 10. Shit.
Wow, it's been that long, hasn't it?
Yeah. To go to theater school. Went to a musical theater program at Grant MacEwan University. Proceeded to not make it big, and I now let the city of Edmonton suck my. No, I shouldn't say that actually. I was gonna say suck my soul, not suck other things.
This is a non-filtered podcast. You can say what you want.
I was gonna say let them suck my soul out for 40 hours a week, but honestly, it's a really good gig, so I can't complain. But yeah, that's kind of all I do. I have a lovely lady.
That's not all you
occasionally do shows.
Chances.
I teach stage combat.
There we go.
You know?
Now we're getting into the meat of it.
Yeah. I do fight choreography as well.
Why he's now here, because I'm going to rope him into doing all of the choreography, all future projects, all the acting. Hilarious story about Chance and I. We grew up in the same town. We did all the same activities: taekwondo, jazz band, trombone, rock and roll, long hair, leather. Never met each other until we ran into each other in Edmonton. Just the craziest love story that ever was.
It's true. Like better than Tristan and Isolde even. Did you ever see Tristan and Isolde? I'm just pulling that reference out of my ass because I've never actually seen Tristan and Isolde before. But yeah, no, Liquor Depot 2011.
Liquor Depot
probably.
2011. Guess
Damn.
what? I just realized
Huh.
my microphone wasn't on.
Oh,
And
I was wondering about the no booping up on the thingy.
My channel.
Oh, that's picking up from mine.
My channel might also be muted. Hold on.
Oh, God. All right. Take two.
It's been a year and change. Nope, not muted. It's all good. I can edit my voice in later. I'll be able to hear minuscule reverberations of what I was saying in your mic. And then I'll just say them again. No such thing as a take two. I'm too good at what I do.
I like it.
Pop
I like
filters.
the confidence.
Pop filter's too close.
What? Oh, is it on?
It's touching. There we go. Yeah. So we've been talking about a few things because I was not prepared. I did not have anything set up when Chance got here. I think primary topic of conversation, since we're delving into pop culture, Canada recently, as in like a week and 2 days ago, legalized marijuana.
Woo.
And we are just both shit-faced right now.
Yay.
See, now you can see me talking.
Shit-faced on Monster Energy drink and thick hamburgers. What?
And life, yeah, I gotta eat that burger. It's gonna sit there until we're done now, probably, because I don't want to be
No? You don't
into
think that's
the
what
mic.
the viewers and listeners want?
Well, you
All
know,
5 of you?
we could do an ASMR channel, just eating burgers. That's
There
what we'll
is
call
an
it.
ASMR channel of some chick who just like, she has like one of those Zoom H4n microphones, and she
Yeah.
just goes to either side of it and like whispers into your ear.
Yeah.
And she says like really sweet things like, I love you.
Oh yeah.
And all that stuff. And like, I mean, she's making bank doing it, but
There's
it's
a-
like, fuck, man, that makes me sad about like what guys are tuning in and paying her on Patreon and sponsoring the YouTube channel and everything. But I
Yep.
mean, like, it just makes me wonder about like the future of like intimacy. You know, I mean, it's if it helps these guys or women, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, then great. But at the same time, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I
See,
can't help but think about some lonely dude like whispering goodnight back at her whenever he's laying down to go to sleep, you know?
It is an interesting. It is thought provoking, right? Because there's somebody who found a way. They found a niche, like, and a bunch of people. Like, there's a lot of different ASMR channels out there who found a niche of something so generic, but also so comforting that just people latch onto for that, like you said, intimacy, sort of like a third-party intimacy. And it's so interesting to me because I know about these types of things, But I typically, like, I don't hang out with a lot of people my age or younger. Like, most of the people that I hang out with or work with or whatever, they're all 5, 10, 15, 20 years my senior.
Yeah.
So for me, when I have conversations with these kinds of people, intimacy is very much the old world type of thing. Like, married with kids, met the old-fashioned way in a restaurant or at a bodega or whatever.
Yeah.
Fell in love. Guy at work, he met his wife at a grocery store. He asked her out like 9 times. She kept turning him down. And then like 7 months later, they're dating and asks her to marry him, right? And it's like, that's the sweetest little thing. And then you meet people like our age or younger, right? Who are either meeting people on apps on their phone or have like this complete disconnect from intimacy because of technology and social media and how they can just keep people at an arm's length and still feel like that's connection.
Yeah, I feel like the landscape is definitely changing because, like, people, especially hot girls, have so many options that, like, why would you settle on one, Like, and like, the thing is, who knows what, and I hate to sound like a cliche, but who knows what, like, they're missing out on. But, like, at the same time, maybe they're not ready to settle down, and that's fine. But it's also just, like, when you're inundated with, like, that much attention, it's like, it's fucking addictive, man.
Oh,
like,
it's poisonous, yeah.
Oh my god. And, like, I'm curious as to what's going to happen in, like, 10 years to this crop of girls who have literally hundreds of guys matching them on Tinder every day, if they want.
Well, that's first step. I mean, you look at where that's headed now with virtual reality, right? The next, there's going to be virtual reality apps. It's going to be every pop-up window of a Russian chick that you can pay money to take her top off, but in full 3D with full body suits you can fondle and
buy a latex pelvis. I literally saw like a latex pelvis in the store the other day. That's all you need, I guess. That and a VR helmet. I mean, for $500 you can get all the fake intimacy that you want, I guess. But
and it doesn't even stop there. Our buddy John, huge into VR, and I've had long talks with him, and I've seen the news about now you can like buy people's scents.
What?
They like bottle their scents, and it all starts through porn, right?
Yeah,
it's basically the pornographic industry governs what's going to be major next in like the visual and physical entertainment as far as things go. I mean, that was CDs and DVDs as opposed to laser discs and now Blu-ray as opposed to whatever the other option was. It's all governed by the porn industry, and it starts with porn stars like basically bottling their scents of their bits and the whatever else that can now be sent or sold to go with VR systems, so that when you're watching pornographic entertainment of these individuals,
pornographic entertainment. Sorry, continue.
No, I'm very prim and proper. Pornographic. So, and that you can basically smell while you're doing your business, like what this person smells like, and it doesn't even stop there, because like you're talking like virtual or like rubber pelvises and tits and strapped to your body banging machines. And it blows my mind, like what's the next step after this? When they perfect this, what is next?
So like, I mean, like we have all these people who either have too many options or they have like no options, and I'm just so curious as like what kind of studies will be done on people like this in like the next coming decades, because like who knows, maybe we or maybe some people don't need more than like that fake intimacy a couple of times a day. I don't think it's gonna be that way. I think,
well, for some people it could be, for sure.
Because I mean, like, I don't know.
Well, let me put it to you this way. Like, I'm currently now happy with my present girlfriend. Love her to death. She's an amazing, best woman I've ever had in my life, except for maybe my mother, but don't tell either one of them I said that.
All right.
And and Kathy, I love you, but you get on my nerves sometimes. But that happens because that's Anyways, I'm diverting from the topic. 5 years, I was single, right? No physical intimacy whatsoever, other than one little stint. And Like, I got to the point where you roll over in bed at night and you just want to put your arms on something or hear somebody say, oh, I love you and whatever. And I never got to the point where it was like, I'm not a lifelong virgin or anything where it's like that's the best that I could get or the best I could aspire to because of like an extreme lack of confidence.
Yeah.
And to anybody out there who is suffering from lack of confidence, trust me, as someone who's been through it, fake it till you make it, man. I just faked being a confident asshole, and it worked for me.
Hey.
You just got to pretend to be somebody you've seen in a movie, and then all of a sudden you're making conversations with people, and life gets a whole lot better.
It never fails, kids.
Never fails. Both of us. Drama kids, man. That's all you got to do is you got to act just a little bit. Don't pretend to be somebody that you're not, but take that little deep down part of yourself that when you talk to yourself in the mirror and you can shoot the shit with yourself and be that confident dude, just take that outside. Take that into the world. And like I could see
slap butts, cat call.
No, that's too much. That's
hug strangers.
That's sexual harassment these days.
Everyone is yours to touch and talk to.
Nope, we do not condone that at the choice. That is a bad choice by choice podcast.
Choice by choice endorses going out and touching and talking to whoever you want to.
Talking to, yes. Also not sponsored by Monster Energy Drink.
We are sponsored by Monster Energy
No,
Drink.
we are not sponsored by Monster. You're throwing this way off. Not sponsored by Monster Energy Drink. Sponsored by Monster Abs.
None in this room.
They're just hiding. They're under there. I've been doing lots of crunches. I'm feeling
There we
fit.
go.
You want to feel these biceps? They're pretty hard.
Cool, but thank you.
I want
See
to
if
touch.
you can-
I want to touch your biceps.
Sorry. Anyway.
But no, I understand. I understand where that feeling of need of intimacy comes from, because when you're by yourself, especially a lot of the people that are growing up now, there's that online stuff. There's not a lot of real personal, face-to-face, physical intimacy connections. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't even have a lot of just like good friends, like how you and I, like me and Daniel, me and John, people like you and Troy, right? Like those are good friendships, and a lot of people don't have like good, honest, intimate friendships like that, or they have people that at the end of the day can just like give them a fucking slap on the shoulder or a hug or just like a hey man, hang in there. And so that's where the shift is, because if everybody's disconnected, right? If everybody's disconnected from that physical intimacy, that loving intimacy of just other people, it's easy to see where having somebody doing an ASMR like, oh yeah, I love you, or oh you're big boy, or whatever floats their boat, where that could just be that emotional touch that they need to kind of keep themselves feeling connected, even though it's not like a legitimate connection.
Yeah, the mind does a lot of really cool stuff like that, where we can trick ourselves into believing a lot of things
100%.
and feeling a lot of things. So maybe that's what it would come down to. I mean, yeah, I hope for everybody to have some legit intimacy, but I mean, if they can trick themselves into feeling the same with fake stuff, then I mean, fuck it, that's awesome, good for them.
Ultimately it all boils down to getting by day by day. I mean, you look at life, right? It's like, okay, if you want to, there's so many people that quit on life. Not to bring suicide, because that's a hard topic, into the mix, but there are so many people that do. They quit on life, and it's whether there's a lack of intimacy or just a lack of connection, or there's a psychological or chemical deficiency, whatever it may be. There's so many people that are so near that just that basic being able to trick yourself is enough to just like, okay, day by day, keep it going, because there's somebody saying that into a microphone that they can feel like they're getting a connection with. Because feeling lonely is just what's the word I'm looking for? Deprecating? No. Devastating? Closer.
Sort of like a grind you down, like there's like a word for grinding you down sort of thing. I can't think of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, and ultimately, like if you're not somebody who's got, I mean, like everybody's got their own plans, like whatever it may be. You want to be a video game professional, you want to be a plumber, you want to be an actor, you want to be the president of the United States.
Shout out 45, love you, buddy.
There's still that day to day. There's that every day where every day you're one day closer to the end.
Yeah.
And you're also one day closer to getting what you want out of your life. Or there's that one day of just being alive, existing, and not feeling like total shit.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, buddy. Not sponsored by Black Panther. T'Challa, everybody, my new cat on.
This podcast is sponsored
He's
by
so
Black Panther.
adorable.
I guess the thing that worries me about this, I guess, now that I'm thinking about it even more, is that like, it just sounds because the problem is we're seeing dudes younger and younger now. Like I used to browse the incel subreddits because I mean, like before they blew up after the van attack, I'd been lurking for like a year and a half, just like seeing what these guys are about, and I find that younger and younger, we're getting these dudes who are identifying themselves as incels and giving up right away, like kind of in the way you're describing. And I worry that when you give up that young and you start to go to things like VR and shit and ASMR videos for your intimacy, like you're kind of setting yourself up for like a solid, like a midlife crisis, I guess, for lack of better words. You're putting a Band-Aid on the thing, but these Band-Aids are comfortable. They trick you into thinking that you're fine with it, Yeah. Whereas again, that's like I said, some people might end up being fine with it, but I feel like a lot of these people will regret using it over. Like, I think a lot of people who use it will use it in place of actual intimacy rather than a supplement to it, and some of them who don't have any other options only feel like they don't have other options.
Oh, 100%. And it's and the worst part about all of this is that finding that escape, because I mean we're all just trying to live, and if you find that escape that makes you feel comfortable, if there's not that real thing, there's always that substitute, and the worst part about those substitutes is, especially when it comes to stuff like VR, gaming, any outlet that you have, is that there is somebody out there profiting off of your outlet of escape. I mean, recently I listened to the audiobook Ready Player One.
Oh, I love that book. Yeah.
I'd never read it in my life. I got an audiobook app. I was like, you know what? I've heard a lot about this, especially in the last couple of years, based off of like now VR is becoming a big thing, and it was amazing how many correlations there are to real society and directions that we're heading as far as technological advances are going, because that whole world is just an escape, right? And at the very tippy top are people that are looking to take advantage and profit off of you having your escape because they know that you need it.
Yeah, and they keep you docile.
Yep. They keep you down, they keep you docile, they make money off of you because, every app has a price, every program has a price. Other than, if you want the primo, the best, or you want the prime escape, pay us. And that's what's depressing to me, because there should be people out there that, it's kind of I don't know how to exactly put it into words. There should be more people trying to help people like that find a real world way of connecting, right? And the problem is that because of profitability and technological advances, it's only going to get worse.
Well, yeah, and I think too, like people are becoming more and more, like I said, those people with all the options on the dating sites, that they're becoming entitled. Like there was an OkCupid study done where women rated 80% of the men that they looked at on OkCupid as below average looking. Because we're all becoming entitled to like the hottest people, and that's the fault of a lot of different types of outlets. Whether that be like everything romanticizes hot people. Like 50 Shades of Grey would not have worked if he was ugly. You know, because that's just a fucking rape novel. But like
it's the magazine stereotype, right? Like that's something women were mad about 20 years ago, because every woman on a magazine cover was the unrealistic magazine girl that men are fantasizing after, or you have to aspire to be like. And now, because of the massive steps we've made in gender equality, now we're seeing the opposite side of that, especially when it comes to, like you said, that's like, okay, men, what we're seeing on these apps or whatever, they're under average because now women are seeing the same thing, right? And in much larger doses, and being able to speak out about it more freely than they ever have, which is a good thing. I'm not contesting that for a second, but it's the same thing. It's that romanticized version of what the male human anatomy concept is. Like men have been fed about the female romanticized perfect anatomy has been for decades.
So it's this vicious storm where like we feel entitled to the hottest people, and there are companies out there who can profit off of selling us selling us on the idea that we deserve the hottest people, and like all these ads, like look at all these hot people you can meet on Tinder, and then everyone's like, oh, I want to meet hot people on Tinder. And it's just, I don't know. It's just It's just this vicious cycle where we all want to escape or have a perfect life, and there are companies out there telling us they can help us escape and give us a perfect life too, and it's just.
Oh, here's how you escape, right? Yeah, go Tinder, whatever. You can meet the hot women, and then, you know, a lot of people, okay, now they're in the reverse. Pardon me. They're in the back pedal where they're like, okay, how can I make myself better? Well, guess what? We've got a pill for that, too. We've got a way to profit off you to get you looking more sexy so you can be the sexy man.
Yeah.
It's like every porn site you go to. It's like, oh, you want a bigger dick? Here's a pill, right? That's society in a nutshell.
Those don't work, by the way.
They don't work.
I tried.
You've tried.
Doesn't.
Do you need a bigger dick?
Yes. I'm not brave.
Isn't triple digits enough?
But yeah, no, it's just listen to us talking on like the state of society, and join us next time for conspiracy theories about 9/11. No, but
It was witches.
it was absolutely.
You know what? I
witches,
can't
man.
take credit for that. That was a Family Guy joke.
Oh.
Or no, that was an American Dad joke. You know who it was? Is giant termites with fire breath. T'Challa knows.
You do. This cat's so cute.
He's so adorbs.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know. On a positive note, I think we're getting our generation's providing a lot of pushback for these sorts of things and trying to call this sort of stuff out.
And it helps having conversations.
Yeah.
Just like this one. Because more and more people now, they're finding ways to kind of express, they're finding outlets to what everybody's feeling deep down inside and communicating about it with other people. And the conversation grows, right?
Totally,
It's just like I know you watch or are at least semi-entertained by people like Philip DeFranco.
Absolutely, yeah.
When it comes to stuff like news and controversy and an unbiased opinion, but also the starts to a conversation.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
if people aren't actively talking about it and seeing both sides and agreeing and disagreeing and arguing both sides, then all you have is a communist dictatorship or whatever. Like, if everybody's thinking the same thing, nothing's ever going to change.
Yeah.
And right now, everybody is so open to new ideas, to the fact that people can have different opinions and ideas, and that's going a long way, especially in our generation, and now potentially younger generations, to snowball things and make things better. You know, destroy the stigma and the stereotypes, and just finally have global conversations.
Yeah, because you can see it in like comment sections on both left and right wing news sites, articles and stuff like that. I mean, a good 50% of the comments are just people from the other side flaming the people who wrote the article. But there's also a good chunk of people out there who are just trying to call out inaccuracies, you know, instead of just flaming. And like that's such a good thing. Well, and, like, just talk.
That's another thing that Philip DeFranco touches on a lot, is how people, a large chunk of people are so eager to see a headline and blow up about it.
Yeah.
Right? They see it like, I had some renters at one point where they saw one single headline somewhere a year and a half ago. Actually, you know what? It was almost exactly a year ago is what it was. And he comes busting into the house. He's just like, dude, Donald Trump's been impeached. It's the greatest day of life. And he goes off and he's calling all of his buddies. And it took me literally 20 seconds to go online and be like, no, that never happened.
Yeah.
Dude, somebody fed you some bullshit. But because you are an idiot, you read one thing or were told one thing and had to go spread this negative, incorrect, fake news agenda, right?
It fit your confirmation
because
bias.
it fit your bias, exactly. And that's such a problem.
I saw this new insult that people have been using on each other. Of course, it's just left wing versus right wing, or right wing versus left wing. I guess the big thing right now is calling people NPCs, like from video games, you know, where
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
people who are just like, they're stuffed with like these stock beliefs and they just go out and they live like regular, pretty mundane, scheduled lives, and they just spout talking points like Orange Man bad, or you know, Republicans racist, or libtards, like, you know, you can picture them because they're all over fucking Facebook right now.
Sheeple.
Yeah. It's almost like the new sheeple in a way.
Yeah.
Because like it's just, you know, making fun of the way that these people don't have their own identities, but like those are the exact type of people who fit confirmation bias, and I think these are the people who let like fear control their lives. That's something I try to be
100%.
so active about. Is like, before I say something or type something or do something, it's like, am I doing this out of fear or out of love? You know?
Yeah.
Like, almost everything can fit into those two categories when it comes to debate, at least, you know?
Yeah, that's a very Donnie Darko approach. The
Man.
fear love.
I haven't watched that still. I really gotta get on that one.
What?
I know.
Dude.
I know.
That was like Seth Rogen's first role.
Seth Rogen was it? No, he wasn't. That was a Jake Gyllenhaal movie, wasn't
Jake
it?
Gyllenhaal, Seth Rogen's in the school. He says like one line.
Oh,
Yep.
fantastic. Was that, how old is that? Is that before Freaks and Geeks?
That's 90s. Yeah, it was before Freak. I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody who's out there who's watching who's a bigger video buff than I am. Yeah. Patrick Swayze is in that
Patrick Swayze's in that?
freaking movie, man. Yeah,
Hey.
he's the guy who does the fear love speech.
Oh, well, there we go.
There we go. If you haven't seen Donnie Darko, watch Donnie Darko. Watch it 5 times until you understand it. Do not watch the director's cut because it just explains everything for you, and then you're a sheeple as well. But yeah, that's Donnie Darko's argument, is that there's fear and love, right? But those are like that's a 1-2 comparison when there's 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D
Yeah.
before you get to 2 ever.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of it, I think, is you're not wrong, right? On a massive scale, it's out of fear, out of love. But I think that if we all looked at it more like, if I say this, can I start a conversation? Can I learn something from this? Like, so many people, they go out with an I'm right or you're wrong.
Yeah, it's about like who's right, not what's right.
Yeah. You should tip your microphone up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. It's about who's right and not what's right.
Yeah, and it's not about what can I learn, right? Like,
Yeah.
so many people, they'll never say something or ask something that they don't know or that they don't fully understand with the expectation that they're going to get information back from somebody who may know more or have alternate opinions. We're all so set in the way of, I know this, therefore it is right because it is right to me, because it is what I was told, it is what I learned, it is what I retain, right? It's very much so on like the scale of religious teachings, right? And not to bash religion or anything. If you're religious, good for you.
But we hate you.
I feel like religion is a big part of what helps people stay away from this whole escapist mentality, because there's something to look forward to at the end of it all, instead of just like getting by it day to day until it's all over. But religious views are very much so like, this is what's in this book or on this piece of paper, and my opinion will never be swayed ever. And I'm right and you're wrong. Whereas people like myself, right, who I was raised in a Catholic school system, and in grade 11 or 12 or whatever, we did religious studies. They're like, okay, yeah, this is Catholic school. Like, we have teachers fired for being lesbians. We have people fired or removed for having dissenting ideas on the Catholic school system. But then all of a sudden put us in a class where they're like, okay, here's Buddhism, here's Muslims, here's Judaism, here's this, here's this, here's this. These are other religions, right? And if you believe them, you get kicked out of our school or whatever. Maybe not quite to that extreme, but you don't belong if you don't believe in these things. Yet they introduce you to them and dissenting ideas, or maybe not dissenting, different ideas. That was my first eye opener, because I was never a super religious person. I was always very skeptical. I always had questions. right?
Yeah.
How can this be? Why is this the way it is? Why do you believe this? Why should I believe this? And then was thrown into this situation where it's like, okay, nobody knows anything. Like, there are so many. You go back to the beginning of time, there are people who thought their religions were infallible, the one and only. If you don't believe this, like back in the day, okay, human sacrifice, whatever the case may be. And for me, that was my big disconnect. That's why I have such a hard time with faith these days, is because how can you be right and they not be right?
Yeah.
How can I be right and you be wrong? How can you be right and I be wrong? Because there's so much.
Yeah, totally. And it's like because I was Christian growing up until like I was like 21, and the thing was like, once I started to explore, I wouldn't call it atheism. I also just think that the only thing I know is that I know nothing.
Agnostic, is that when it's like you believe that there could be things, but you're not sure you believe in anything?
I kind of believe in nothing, but I don't actively believe there's not a God, so I don't know where I lie. I don't know. Anyway, the whole thing is like, once I started exploring that, I started seeing all these things that made me realize, that no one could possibly be right. You know, like how many people, like a lot of the time your religion just kind of depends on where you were born, you know, and what your parents believe.
100%.
And so like how can we fight wars over this when
religion is biological?
Yeah.
It's my parents believed in Catholicism, baptized Roman Catholic, right? And so then that's what I was raised into. If I'd have been born in India, I would believe that I should not eat cows. If I was born Jewish, I would believe not to eat pigs. And it's just that's all it boils down to, ultimately. And I mean, like I said, not to disparage religion. If you believe one thing, good for you.
So we hate you. I'm just kidding.
Not sponsored by Chance saying we hate you.
Sponsored by hate. Anyway.
But and that's the thing, is great for you, religion. I don't believe that there is no higher power in the universe. Like, the sun's a higher power than I am. The earth itself is a higher power than me. I believe that there are greater forces at work in this universe than myself.
Yeah.
Maybe that greater force is chaos. Maybe it is a deity in the sky. Maybe it's 1,000 deities in the sky. Maybe it is 1 billion deities. Maybe every star in the universe is a god that is governing the physical force of the universe. I do not know. But what we should be asking, what we should be doing is asking. We should be talking. We should be communicating. We shouldn't be taking this very stagnant religious approach where we're biologically conditioned to say or believe certain things, like vaccines are bad. Religion is good because you believe in this one thing. You know, if you hold that face too long, it's going to stay that way. These are just things that people are conditioned to believe. And so then they know, and then they take that fight of what they know to every single other person instead of having a simple conversation and potentially learning something.
Sidebar, I think sort of sidebar. I mean, I guess this only works if you have a similar belief point to me, but I mean, like, I just think as far as conversations go, I feel like we should just never talk about our gods again. Just like, I mean, it just in that, like, I mean, it's cool to learn about them and their history and how they've affected the world, but like the big thing about me, like, I was watching a video with TJ. You know that awesome show on YouTube where they eat progressively hotter hot wings?
Yes.
It's so great. TJ Miller was on an episode.
Yeah.
And it's just called The Hot Ones. That's what it's
Hot
called.
Ones.
Hot
Yes.
Ones. Watch it.
Philip DeFranco endorses that show.
Yeah, it's great.
I endorse Philip DeFranco.
Endorsed by Philip DeFranco. So, anyway, TJ Miller was on an episode, and one of the questions they asked him was, like, what do you think happens after we die? And he had the exact same response I would have had, and it's just, who cares? You know, like, it just literally does not affect me right now unless I do. Your perception is everything. If you think God matters, God matters. But when you think about it objectively, God just doesn't matter right now because you don't know what happens afterwards. None of us fucking know. Everyone probably has a little piece right, or even zero. Maybe everyone has 0% right. That's all I could possibly see is 1% or less is what we know about what happens after.
Family Guy said it when they did the Jew episode.
The accountant one?
No, the one where Lois finds out that she's Jewish. and then Peter goes over
yeah.
the top with it, then has a dream about his dad who says that you can't be Jewish, you got to be Catholic, and then he gets like super redneck Catholic.
Yeah.
Right? And then they're having a Passover Seder at the end of the episode, and Brian brings Jesus in to talk to Peter, and somebody says, like, so is any of this real? And Jesus looks at him and he says, 10 to 1 religion's all
a
shit.
crap anyway, yeah.
And that's the thing, is if you believe, right? That's your way of knowing, and that's fine. And I find a larger and larger percentage of people these days are fit very much into our category, the T.J. Miller category, where it's like, who cares? Whatever happens. How can we know 100% when there's 100,000 years of religion that comes out of that comes from the dirt all the way up to, you know, Scientology and whatever the hell we have now that people believe in. And how could any one of them be right? How could any one of them be wrong? Live your life, right? Do what you got to do day to day. This all boils back to like people looking for their escape. Get by day to day. Do what you got to do. Just live your life. Have the best time that you can. We're here for a good time, or a short time. What's the song?
Here for a good time, not a long time.
That's the word. That's the words. Is that Kiss?
Good time. I think it's actually April Wine. Oh shit! Fuck off.
AC/DC said that thunderstruck long time.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So like just live, man. Do what makes you happy. So many people. Daniel and I have talked about this on previous podcasts where we have such a skewed concept of life, especially in North America, where it's enslave yourself to work for 40 years, and then when you're getting to a point now where your bodily functions are letting go and you can't support yourself or your mind is deteriorating, then you get to go live your life. And that's not the way that it should be.
That scares the shit out of me.
Yep, and it scares the shit out of everyone, Chance. Trust me, I'm a person who has frequent panic attacks about such things, and you can ask anybody in my family. I have panic attacks about the end of days, like my days, and you know what? That's at 5 minutes every week. I'll have that moment. The rest of every minute of every other week is fuck it.
Yeah,
I'm here. Look what I'm doing right now. I'm having
to it.
just get used to it. I'm here. Just get used to it.
Okay.
Because I'm abrasive. But I'm here.
Yeah.
Look at what I'm doing right now. I'm recording with somebody I love, with a creature that I love. I'm having a conversation that's stimulating. I'm having fun because this is just stuff that I love to do. Building a website, building a production company, and what is there not to love about what I'm doing? I work a day job, sure, pays the bills. I got a great house. I got a roof over my head. I got groceries. I can walk outside at any time, not have to fear for my life, not have to worry about things that 90% of the population has to worry about on a daily basis. Very, very fortunate, very, very privileged. And ultimately, that's the goal, is to help people. For me, do what I love and help people.
Yeah.
That was always 14 years of age. I was like, I want to be a musician because I love playing guitar. I love singing, and I love the way that makes people feel when they experience something that I love to put out there. I've had people in my life who have been suicidal. I've had people in my life who have been depressed, who I like to think helped, assisted back from the brink. And that is something that since those days, at 15 years of age, I have wanted to do my whole life. And I am fortunate enough to be able to build an outlet where I can do what I love and help people, which is another thing that I love, all at the same time. Whether it be in baby steps or sprints. But that's the goal. And why not? Just live, right?
Totally. Yeah, I like that. People need to just kind of drop the expectations and just do shit and see what happens. That's another killer. I think you should have goals. I think attaching yourself to outcomes is a problem. So if you just do what you're doing and just recognize that you have a good life and then just work at building stuff, as long as you're it's like Gary Vaynerchuk always says. Do you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is?
I don't know that one.
I'll link you him on Instagram. He's fucking awesome. That's something he talks about a lot, is just loving the process, Find a thing that you like to do, and then you add a little bit of Buddhism or Stoicism in there. Don't attach yourself to the outcomes of these things that you like to do, and fuck, you win every time.
Yeah.
You just win. You find out what your values are, and you live by those values, you will have a good life.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and don't be caught up in this whole expectation of needing to work your whole life away before you can have freedom in your life.
yeah.
I bumped into people in the Tim Hortons lineup the other morning. Maybe yesterday morning. This guy was saying the same thing. He's talking about people that he knows who have all these life goals who are never going to achieve them because they're so stuck in the rut of I have to work 40 hours a week. I have to stay home and do this. I have to, this expectation of me to do this. And they're going to live their whole life, let it pass them by, and never do any of the things on the list of things that they've set up to do for themselves.
Yeah.
When really all it takes is one itty-bitty tiny little shift in mentality, right? A conversation, that little trigger pull that somebody assists with or that they just realize for themselves that helps them make a little change.
Yeah.
Right? Boom. All of a sudden, okay, what do I want to do this year? I want to travel. I've never traveled before. Well, I have. I'm speaking hypothetically,
Yeah.
right? It's like, okay, here's the money. Here's what you need. Here's what you have to do, right? So many people just talk about it because they're just caught up. They're caught up in this cycle of like how we're taught to live. It's that same thing. It's like where we're born. That same as the religious mentality. We're born where our religion is work. Work till you're 60, sometimes 70. Then when you retire, do you have enough to live? No. Okay, now you're working part-time jobs still while you're a senior citizen, or you're in a home sitting on your ass because you can't do anything with yourself.
Yeah.
And slowly wasting away. That's not life, man. That's not living.
Oof. Yeah.
It's rough. It's rough to think about. And you see so many people just going that way, going about their business. I'm sure people in your family have gone that way, gone about the business. And you wish you could just go back and tell them, you can live. Here is an extra $500. Starve yourself for a month if you have to go and have an experience.
Yeah.
Like, just do it. Nike, not sponsored by Nike.
Sponsored by Nike.
Not sponsored by Nike. But just do it. Just live, man. Like, even if all you want is adventure, go for a walk in a park, drive to a city, walk to a field and watch the stars, watch a meteor shower, watch an eclipse, read a book, whatever you have to do. But so many people are just trapped by this genetic pass me down how I'm going to live my life.
And like, by the way, you people out there, we get that
It's not easy.
you have to work. Like, we get it. We're just saying that there's like a culture, there's a weird work culture out there where the overlords have convinced us that, you know, especially in Alberta, like there's a huge work culture here in Alberta where like people are like, yeah, I work 70 hours a week, like it's a badge of honor. It's like, fuck, I'm not, that. No, I don't care how rugged it makes you feel to work 70 hours a week. I will never do that.
Yep.
Sorry, man.
You work 70 hours a week. That's great. Did you have time to even jerk off?
The most important part of my day?
Yeah.
It takes like 45 minutes.
I know that's a crass way of looking at it, but when you look at how to get pleasure out of life, it's like, okay, great. You've got a trades career or whatever.
A lot of trades here in Alberta, by the way.
Tons, yeah. See them by the score. Where I work especially, because it's all at tower, right? Contractors, it's like plumbers, electricians, construction, you name it, and locksmiths. And those guys are all miserable.
Yeah.
I talk to people at work all the time who are just fucking miserable. And they tell me, don't do this.
Yeah.
Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. And that's all they say. They don't say, hey, you know what I did? You should give this a try.
Yeah.
You know, go do this. Give this a go. You know, here's where I had an adventure. Because they don't have those. I went to school. I'm in debt. I am now an electrician or a plumber or a whatever the fuck that they are, working 70, 80 hours a week. And I'm supporting my family. I got a roof over my head. That's not life, man.
No.
That's, great. If your family and kids make you happy, live for that, sure. That's fine. You can find joy in those things. But 90% of those guys I talk to, I'm like, what are you doing this weekend? Working?
Yeah.
You don't have any plans? No, I might catch the football game.
Yeah.
That's
like,
fucking depressing.
I actually work with a guy who used to work on the rigs, and he made stupid coin. He was talking about how, like,
Yeah.
back in his day, you know, like, if you wanted to have a night out, you brought $500 with you, you know, because you're buying rounds, you're probably buying blow at the end of the night when the bars closed, and, like, all this stuff. But, like, he lived for the weekend, and that was it. And now he's got kids and a beautiful wife, and he's working a job where I work, where he's probably making less than half of what he was making at the rigs. But he works 40 hours a week and sees his kid every night. You know,
There
his
you
kids
go.
every night. Like, I don't know,
And that's
man.
fine.
Yeah,
if that's what he lives for, and he gets to see his kids, he's happy seeing his kids. He's happy being a family man and a reliable dad. Sometimes that's all people need.
Yeah.
Right. But same thing. Like I worked oil field.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I paid for my university. I had
man.
one student loan I paid off in 2 years.
Yeah.
The rest I paid for oil field money.
Yeah.
Because I worked for just 1 year oil field.
Yeah, if you're like 19, man, go do the rigs for a year. Go up north. Go do a shutdown somewhere.
But
Make
for
that
God-
money. But don't let that be your career.
No, and for God's sake, please be safe. Please observe safety conditions. Like, I almost died a couple of times. I've never even told my parents, like, I almost got crushed. I almost lost limbs.
Yeah.
And, you know, looking back, how fortunate I am to have learned from those experiences.
Yeah.
I'm the guy at work now where it's like, oh, you're going up on the scissor lift? Where's your fucking harness?
Yeah.
I don't care if you're 5 feet off the ground. Strap yourself to that fucking machine.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's all it takes, man. My drummer Lee, he lost a fingernail in power tongs just because he was like, okay, here's how you properly do it. Sure. And still, boom, clamped down, fucking fingernail ripped off.
Oh.
And he's lucky it wasn't his whole finger.
Oh.
Yep. And it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, you could have, if you were a guitar player and that happened and it was worse, there goes your pipe dream.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just, but I mean, hey, if you're safe, learn what you can, learn how to work safe. You'll make the money, and that's the thing, right? It's like there's that experience, there's that money. That's what got me to Edmonton. That's what got me out of Cokeville, Lloydminster, where that was what you did. You got your money at the end of the week. You went out to the bar. You spent it on your booze. The guys spent it on their blow. They spent it on their women, whatever the hell. They're buying all the, and this ties into too when we had the big economic downturn. Was okay. You're buying toys now because you got your trophy Coke wife and you're popping out your Coke kids, right? And you bought the big truck and the big camper and the big house and you got the mortgage.
Fuck yeah, bud.
Oh, fuck yeah, bud. And then all of a sudden the economic downturn and you're selling the truck, you're selling the camper, you're losing your home because you can't pay the mortgage because all of a sudden there's an issue. Why would you not have just taken that money instead of going out with $500 to $1,000 to $1,500 a weekend, spending it on your drugs and your booze and the partying, go out with $100 even, and that's a lot for me even still to go out, have a couple of drinks with the boys, maybe catch the game, put that money in a fucking bank account, use it to travel, use it to pay off your mortgage. If something goes shit sideways, guess what? You got your ass covered. But on top of that, you can use that money. Hard earned, like, and I know Oilfield, you're working like a motherfucker, but guess what? You can still take that now, and you can go on bigger, better adventures than a lot of people who aren't making that bank, right? And support your family without having to put it all up your nose or in your cup.
Yeah. By the way, no matter how safe your career is, it's not safe. So always save. There's a really awesome
Always
Jim
wear a
Carrey
condom.
video. I think he was he was giving like a speech at a college. I think it was at like a congregation. What's it called?
Jim Carrey, you said?
Jim Carrey. Yeah.
I love Jim Carrey.
What's that end of year ceremony called? Congregation? No.
Convocation?
Convocation. Thank you. It was congregation ceremony. Anyway, he was giving these kids.
Is it conjugation, like banging?
Conjugation is bad. I was thinking congregation.
Congregation. That's a bunch of people
That's
together.
people
Praising?
praising the sun. Dark Souls fans out there. Anyway,
we were gonna play Dark Souls tonight if we had time.
Just
Just pass the controller off with each death.
Oh, I love it. But anyway,
Go ahead.
there's like a really awesome video of him giving the speech about how, like, you know, his dad was an accountant, and his dad was an accountant for like 25 years with the same company, and then the company went under because of economic downturn, of course, and then he got laid off anyway.
Yeah.
Even the safe thing isn't fucking safe all the time.
Oh, man.
Right? I don't know.
Shout out to my dad.
Yeah,
He worked in the oil field, started from the ground up, became environmental coordinator for a massive oil field company. He's doing well, making better money than a lot of people with no, like barely a high school education, no secondary, and economic downturn. Position where he worked for this company that changed names and whatever for years, for decades, and boom, no job. Right? Walked out of the building. No, actually, what was worse, made to train his own replacement.
Oh.
Yep. And you know what? He fucking did. And he left with it. Maybe not the way he wanted to. Maybe not happy. But he did what he fucking had to do.
Yeah.
Right? And one thing, he never gave himself enough credit. Right?
Yeah.
He was worried. We're all worried as a family. I took a second job because we're like, okay, you never know how this is going to end.
Yeah.
Everybody band together. I can't remember if it was 3 weeks or a full month before he was passing through Edmonton on his way to 3 different job interviews in Calgary because of his reputation that he built with his bare fucking hands.
Yeah.
Right? And he's laughing, he's smiling, he's buying us drinks because all of a sudden he's realizing his self-worth, his worth, working his whole life, learning everything that he did, and just blowing people away in interviews. He's telling me about these guys who've worked in the industry for years, saying, okay, we've got this situation, what would you do? And he's telling them about protocols, and he's telling them about forms, and about how to get shit done. And these guys their heads are spinning around because they don't even know these things, right? Then there's big crises popping up. He's got oilfield companies knocking at his door pretty much saying, we need you to come and deal with this because you're the man.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's like, okay, take your fucking pick.
Yeah.
And like, never been prouder of the old man, right? Because just like, man, if there's anybody in my life I want to aspire to be like, building himself up from fucking nothing to that, where like, you know, I'll bleep this, but like, like, hey, we have a spill. You're the fucking guy. Come sort this out.
Yeah.
Him. Bring him. And he's working for another company. It's like, we don't give a fuck if he's working for you. He's coming to sort this out.
Huh.
Like, hot damn.
No
fucking
kidding.
right on. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's just one of those things, man. And that's the mentality too. Like that's something he's built for himself, working those 60-hour weeks. And you know, he takes pride in that. Because that was what he was raised, was work hard.
Yeah.
Head down, ass up, get the job done. Right? And then he can go fishing.
Yeah.
And that's his piece on earth is fishing. And when he works hard, he gets to do that.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's got some good kids, keeps him happy. Fine. He's not a traveler. He's not a huge partier. He's got his boys at the lake. But fuck, man, he's living for all he's worth. And doing what a lot of people are doing now where they're not living.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot worse things to aspire to.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Just keep your honor and keep working, fellas and ladies out there.
And ladies. Oh. We've been talking for a good hour.
What do you say we call her quits and play some of that there Dark Souls?
I'm down to play some Dark Souls.
Sweet.
Not sponsored by Dark Souls.
Sponsored by Dark Souls.
Not sponsored by Blizzard.
Also by Monster Energy Drink.
Is Dark Souls Blizzard?
No,
It's not Blizzard.
From Software.
So, okay.
Yeah.
It's Canada. We have Blizzards.
We do have Blizzards.
Sponsored by Real World Blizzards.
Real life Blizzards.
Sponsored by, let's give a little tag here.
Oh.
Urban Grim Productions.
Urban Grim Productions.
Featured artist, Chance. The what the heck?
Boo.
I know. I'll come up with something else. Captain Long Shorts, that's what I call him.
Like it.
Yeah, the captain. Yeah, this has been fun, man. I'm really glad we did this.
This has
been a long time coming.
Thanks for having me.
I would love to have Daniel up because I feel like he would really contribute to these conversations. Daniel's a guy who can look at the sides of conversations that I can't see.
That's the thing. You and I are really similar. You know.
Yeah.
We did a lot of agreeing with each other this past hour, which is fine. I mean, we had a lot of good points, but it's just also like, it'd be cool to have some dissenting opinions.
Yeah, and that's one thing I love talking to Daniel about is that he, like I said, he sees sides of conversations that I haven't thought of, right? And he's a really good opinion to have in the room.
Yeah.
A really good conversationalist. Yeah, so we'll do this again.
Love it.
But thanks for checking us out. I guess. Anybody who sees this is just a need to be doing something artistic and get back in the groove. For all you out there who want to check out the website, urbangrimproductions.com, House Down Studios, Point in View, where we're going to be putting some sketches and a series. Chances in that one we're going to be working on with our buddy John. It's going to be great. It's going to be real hardcore. And yeah, this has been Choice by Choice podcast.
Thanks.
Where are you at?
Where are you at?
Thanks, buddy.
That's fun, dude. Yeah.
Thanks for doing
that. We've been talking about doing that for a million years. And then we finally got it done.